The Canelo Alvarez Josesito Lopez fight was pretty much what I expected it to be. A big man beating on a little guy. I mean, Lopez a couple of fights ago was a junior welterweight. He moved up and he fought Ortiz and beat him, and then guess there was no one for Alvarez to fight, and the Golden Boy throws him in there to fight Alvarez. It was like throwing the lamb to the wolves, so to speak. Round one, Alvarez was just too much for Lopez. Too much strength, too much power. That's what I saw in round one. Round two was pretty much the same thing. Too much strength, too much power. He knocks Lopez down in the second. Third round again, too much strength, too much power. He knocks him down in the third, knocks him down in the fourth, and it just like Lopez was like the little engine that could. His stock goes up for trying because, like I said a couple of fights ago, he was a junior welterweight fighting a junior middleweight. He came in weighing 153. He looked a little out of shape. I guess less pounds for him to take off during training camp. So I guess he felt like it was less for me to do. I didn't have to come in tip top shape, because his body kind of looked like that. To be honest, this fight was like it was nothing more than a sparring session to Alvarez, because nothing that Lopez threw hurt Alvarez, and he landed some shots on him, but it just nothing fazed him. And like I said, Alvarez was just too strong for him. He had too much power, and all I thought of it was just a sparring session. Other than that, Alvarez, he's had over 40 fights. He's 22. I think it's time for him to step up and fight better fighters. Because you look at his last few fights. He beat Matthew Hatton for the title. He fought Ryan Rose. He fought Alfonso Gomez. He fought Kermit Citron, but Citron was not the same Citron from years ago. He fought an old 40-year-old Mosley. I think that was just more so to put a name on his resume. And now, here it is, he fights a junior welterweight. Like I said, until he fights better opposition to see who he's really made of, I can't really call him a good fighter. I maybe say he's a decent fighter. He's built like a little Mack truck. He does have some strength and some power to his punches. But again, until he fights someone in the top 10 who's ranked in Ring Magazine, or someone who's noteworthy, I can't call him a B fighter or an A fighter. All I can say is that he's just a C-level fighter, because he hasn't really fought anybody. And like I said, with the guys he's fought, it leaves very little to be desired. Maybe it's his fault, maybe it's not his fault. Maybe it's not his fault because Golden Boy is just too much protecting him. Maybe it is his fault because he doesn't have a voice of his own to say, well, this is who I want to fight. Or maybe next year they're just going to keep pushing him along, fighting a whole bunch of nobodies. And then next year, throw him in with Mayweather so Mayweather can lop his head off. I really see next year that Mayweather's going to end up fighting Alvarez for Cinco de Mayo weekend, and Mayweather's just going to beat on him because he's clearly not ready for him. And when Jim Gray asked him after the interview, do you want to fight the winner of Cotto Trout or do you want to fight Mayweather? He doesn't really give an answer. So that right there just says that he's not ready. But like I said again, but then you having these fights, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 title defenses, and you're still not ready to move up for better fights. That was just like almost the same thing what Sergio Martinez said to Chavez Jr. Before you become champion is when you're supposed to have your learning experiences, and when you become champion, you're supposed to have better level of opposition for your fights. Not fighting fighters like this, because this is not going to do it for me. And then it's just my opinion. I know other people may think differently, say, oh, I'm being too harsh or I'm hating. It's not that I'm hating. Like I said, it looks like he has a good fundamental boxing skill. He has decent hand speed and he has power. And he's like I said, he's built like a little Mack truck, and he knows how to cut the ring off very well. But until he fights better opposition, we won't know how good he really is. And like I said, maybe it's his fault, maybe it's Golden Boy's fault. But either way, him being a fighter, he has to have some voice to say, listen, I want to do better than fighting this level of opposition he's fighting. That's my view on Alvarez Lopez fight. Like I said, if people watched my listened to my pre-fight, I said what it was. It was just a big guy beating on a little guy, pretty much in a nutshell. So that's my view on that. To add a little extra to my comments, I watched the fight earlier, Cruiserweight Championship of the World between Hernandez versus Troy Ross. This fight took place in Germany earlier today. I saw the fight. It went the distance. I thought Troy Ross won the fight, and they gave it to the other guy. I thought Ross won at least by 1 or 2 points. He won some close rounds, but he could have done a little better. Hernandez, he has a lot of work to do, but like I said, I thought Troy Ross won the fight. So that's my view on that. So leave your comments, good or bad. To those who subscribe, thank you. To those who aren't subscribers and watch, subscribe. More videos to come. Like I said, I started up Facebook. I'm trying to get it off the ground, so you could, check me on that. And leave your comments. All right, I'm out. Thank you.